I've just watched Caught Stealing. The trailer looked fun and the tone was a little tongue-in-cheek with a decent cast. Again, thankfully, this movie isn't a remake or a franchise or a sequel or blah blah blah. But is it worth a trip to the cinema? Let's find out. I was going to go and see Toxic Avengers Uncut, but the problem with that was, for some reason the screening didn't happen. There was some technical problem with it, and the guy came in and he was like, nah, it's not happening. It's not happening. So instead of Toxic Avenger, I've just seen, what's it called? Doing dishes, stealing dishes, doing something, stealing something, Caught Stealing, which stars Austin Butler. All right, let's go home. We're on a timer here. I've paid for the parking, so we need to go. Otherwise, we'll get a fine through the post, which is never nice. Let's get out of here and let's talk about Caught Stealing. The whole purpose of this channel anyway is to talk about some of those films that you probably wouldn't consider going to see. And I reckon Caught Stealing is a perfect candidate for that. How many people are going to go and see this film? And why are people going to go and see it? What would make people go and see this? We need to shed some light on the situation. I suppose number one is Austin Butler. Austin Butler is an interesting young actor who's kind of sprung up from, well, I don't even know where from. No idea. Not a clue where from. But the stuff that I've seen him in, I mean, he's pretty good. And this is the first time I've seen him in a big lead starring role. And I kind of guess this is his thing. You know, this is his movie. So can he cut the mustard? Does he have it? Does he have the Hollywood charm? Does he have the Hollywood charisma? Does he have all of that? Well, I think he does have all of that. And there's a reason why. The character he plays in Caught Stealing, he's just an ordinary guy who's literally, you know, wrong time, wrong place. It's one of those caper films, you know, one of those kind of something insane happens and then loads of other insane things happen. And there's a little bit of emotional turmoil, there's a little bit of shock, there's a little bit of this and that. And there's all backstabbing and there's all these kind of things going on. But it all manages to hold itself together. No point in this film did I think anything was like, come on. This is a case of one of those mid-budget movies. It's just good, you know? It's just a good film. And we need to see more of these type of films in cinemas, actually. It's got an air of comedy about it. I mean, it is quite a violent film. It doesn't pull any punches. Well, it actually does the opposite of pulling punches. It just gets on with its story as violently as it can. But it all makes sense. None of it's like senseless and all of that kind of thing. I think the trailer does judge the mood of the film quite well. Yeah, this film's got some decent actors in it. It's got some pretty good actors. And, you know, you've got a bit of geezering going on from one of the main characters in there. Geezer, punk. If any one of you have seen The Young Ones, it was a thing in the 80s. It was basically a load of, like, down and outs, I guess, living in some weird house in some weird town in Britain somewhere. All sorts of crazy things happened, but there was a punk. There was a punk with the sticky uppy hair, and he was played by, I think he was played by, edit me, tell me who he was played by, I can't remember. But he was played by him anyway. He's played by Matt Smith, and he's got that vibe going on. He's got that vibe going on. Vivian, was his name Vivian? Maybe it was Vivian. I can't even remember the name of the guy's name out of The Young Ones. Oh my god. Whatever. Matt Smith plays the punk from the UK, from England, from this place where I am right now. And he's great. I mean, talk about bags of personality. Talk about bags of character. Really great. Fantastic stuff. I don't think anybody in this film is of clean spirit and heart. I don't think so. I think everyone's got a bit of a mucky character going on. Except for Zoe Kravitz. I think she's probably the most pure of everyone in this. What is Caught Stealing about? We've got a barman called Hank. He's played by Austin Butler. And, you know, Hank he's a good lad. He's all right. He loves his alcohol. He loves a good time. He loves all of that kind of thing. He might overdo the alcohol a little bit, probably, possibly, but, you know, not to any self-destructive measure. Certainly not the Hank that we meet in the film. He's sort of on the slide a little bit, but he's kind of got himself together also. So he's got his own little apartment, and he's got his girlfriend played by Zoe Kravitz. She's called Yvonne. They've got a decent relationship. I think she's a paramedic. She's sort of the only one who has her life together, really. She's the only one who's sort of got her life on track. She's probably the one who's got him on the straight and narrow. Whereas he could have gone that way a little bit, and his life could have spiraled out of control. But I think because she's around and she's in his life, she's an important piece of keeping him in one piece. But talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Getting the blame for shit going wrong. I think that's the right way to put it. Literally in the wrong place at the wrong time. All he's been instructed to do by Russ is look after the cat. Russ has got to disappear back off to London for a bit because of personal reasons. I mean, I suppose we could blame the cat for all of this, really, because Hank's on a mission to find the cat food in Russ's apartment. And when he's doing that, he gets caught by the Russian mob who want something from Russ. But obviously, Russ isn't there, right? That's kind of the whole crux of the story. From that point on, things spiral out of control. It gets violent, it gets murdery, and it gets, funny as well. I think it does. It's one of those interesting films that is just a cut above something else that would have been made by somebody else. And what I mean by that is, shockingly and surprisingly and confusingly even, this film is directed and produced as well by Darren Aronofsky. That doesn't really make any sense. We need to go through a couple of things. One of them is the Darren Aronofsky thing. I'm confused here. I'm a little bit confused, a little bit perplexed. How did Darren Aronofsky end up directing this film? And is this film reasonably all right, pretty good, not too bad at all, because of Darren Aronofsky? I don't know. Let's go through why the Darren Aronofsky thing is weird. If you were shown this movie completely without knowing anything about it, even probably what it was called, and somebody said to you, tell me who you think directed this film, I reckon probably the last name out of maybe every name on earth, you would say Darren Aronofsky. He would be the last person you'd ever think of who would be the director of a film like this. But maybe that's not fair, because the way I'm talking about Caught Stealing is that it's not a good film. But actually, it is a good film. This is okay. This is an entertaining movie. I'm just confused as to how Darren Aronofsky was the director of it. And the reason why I say that is because you've got films like Pi, Requiem for a Dream, The Fountain, The Wrestler, Black Swan, and Mother. And I mean, Mother could not be any more different than this. Mother is crackers. Mother is insane, bonkers, amazing, just shatteringly mad. This is weird. Caught Stealing is weird. It's good, but how on earth did Darren Aronofsky do this? And why? Some directors and some actors and some people involved in the movie industry, particularly in Hollywood, they do a sort of one for them and one for me kind of an attitude on some things. You'll see some prestigious directors directing stuff like, I don't know, Bad Boys 5 or Twister 3 or whatever the hell else. And they do it because they get a big paycheck, and then they go away for a year and they go and make a couple of films that they want to make. Stuff that isn't going to be hugely profitable, but stuff that is going to be respected by the film snobs and the people like me, I suppose. But Caught Stealing isn't one of them either. It's not a big blockbuster Hollywood special effects bonanza. It's just a weird film about a weird situation that somebody finds themselves in and spends the entire film trying to get out of it. Let's just carry on a bit more and talk about Caught Stealing, because we've got the Darren Aronofsky thing off our chest now. We've got that off our chest. We don't know why he's done it, but it doesn't really matter because it's decent anyway. You can see a kind of visual flair to it. I mean, it does look beautiful on the big screen. The cinematography is lovely. The settings, the lighting, everything looks great. Aesthetically, it looks fab. And of course you're going to get that from Darren Aronofsky. The soundtrack is also pretty good. There are some great songs on the soundtrack of this film. I think I can feel a Caught Stealing Spotify playlist in my future somewhere. The music is really good in this. The screenplay is by Charlie Huston. He wrote the novel of Caught Stealing. I see films, I don't read books, so I don't know. But I always find it interesting when an author does the screenplay of a film, of a book that he wrote. And you think to yourself, well, okay, if anybody's going to do a good job with the screenplay, it's definitely got to be somebody that wrote the actual book on it. You know what I mean? So Caught Stealing, the novel, was a creation of Charlie Huston. And I reckon that his script and his screenplay and everything else for this film is it's all right. I think the story is really good, to be honest with you. It's got enough surprises and weird directions and things happening like that make you think, all right, yeah, I mean, you know, it's got a little bit extra thought behind it. Of course it does, because it was written by the guy who wrote the book. But the movie, the screenplay certainly is all right. The story is good. So, you know, we've got a decent directing pedigree, and we've got a writer who wrote the book. This is all right. It holds itself together quite well. It's actually set in the 90s. For me, anyway, of the age that I am, that's kind of fun. There's a lot of references to things that I remember when I was younger in this, and I kind of enjoyed that, to be fair. But then it also scares me at the same time, because you think, when I was the age when this film was set, the 1970s was the olden days. It's a period piece, I guess, which it didn't really need to be, I suppose, but it is a period piece. I think that's where the punk thing fits into it. And the mobile phones, oh my goodness me. They're the brick phones, you know? There's no such thing in this as Facebook. Facebook hasn't been invented yet. MySpace hasn't been invented yet. Kind of nice. I haven't really seen a film, certainly recently, that was set in that era, and it's like, okay, great, fantastic. If those of you remember, you know, what the world was like back then, well, the world of Caught Stealing is like that. Let's sum up Caught Stealing. Caught Stealing is one of those old school films that you used to get all of the time in cinemas. Before the days of streaming and before the days of being able to watch stuff like instantly like that, loads of these kind of films were around. Not so much anymore, which is surprising why a film like this not only is out in cinemas and has got a pretty massive release, but also has been made by Darren Aronofsky. I can't put that together in my mind for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's conventional. Maybe it's because it's 80% okay and not like the usual Darren Aronofsky 100% mad, crazy, thematic, insane, nutty. It's just ticking all the boxes and it's doing all the things right for a film like this, which is probably why I'm thinking, Darren Aronofsky? Really? But regardless of that, when you go and see this, I think you're going to have a good time. You need to understand that it's violent, it's tongue-in-cheek, it does get a bit serious sometimes, but most of the time it's an enjoyable romp about somebody that's in the wrong place at the wrong time and who gets involved with the wrong people. So, Caught Stealing is available everywhere. It's got a really wide release. And I reckon it's only worth seeing on the big screen if you're a fan of Darren Aronofsky, if you're a fan of Austin Butler, if you're a fan of Zoe Kravitz, if you're a big fan of gangster films and stuff. It's a little bit different than all the other gangster films. And as I say, it's got that tinge of tongue-in-cheek, it's a bit odd and funny kind of thing going on. This is the Film Podcast. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon.